Um, okay, so I can actually say that I'm not going to be misinforming you on this one because I know that it's correct. The first thing that you guys will already know is that this is the general equation of your ellipse. If you don't know this, then slightly concerning, but that's fine. What you should know from the first question is the width of this parabola, of this ellipse, sorry, because it's the same as design A, and that width is root 120. That means that this point here is positive 120, and this point here is negative root 120. And you should be able to connect that these intercepts are the exact same as a squared, right? Because in an ellipse, a squared is just the x-axis. So now what you know is that x squared over 120. Now, the root 120 is a. Don't make the mistake and write a squared as root 120. A squared will be 120 because it's this squared. Okay. And you know that, sorry, one second. What you need to do now is figure out what B is. So in the question, what it says is, if you look at your sheet, and I'm using the third sheet that Mr. Konamalai gave us, it says that this design just meets the 5-meter height requirement for any point on the water in the pool. What that means is that over here, where the pool is going to equal to 5, this whole vertical distance meets the 5-meter rule. So what they're basically telling you is when x is equal to 5, and if you're wondering why we're using 5, it's because that's what the most outer part of the pool is. When x is equal to 5, y is equal to 5 as well. And immediately you should be able to see that you can substitute that in this equation and then solve for b. What that's going to look like is 25 over 120 plus y squared over b squared. Sorry, that y squared. One second. I should have put the y squared as being 25 as well. That's my bad.
Introducing Domino's succulent slow-cooked New Zealand
Now,
lamb range.
one thing that I haven't mentioned yet is that this is the vertical displacement of this shape. So your equation isn't actually just going to be that, because your origin is at 0.
Listen to all your
0.
favorite tracks
0.25.
without hearing audio ads when you make the
And
move to
it's
Spotify
0.25
Premium.
because this is in
Upgrade
millimeters.
to Premium and
You have
listen
to change
your
it.
way.
So what
Tap
you
the
actually
banner
end
to
up
learn
getting,
more.
sorry, if I grab that and just get rid of my filthy mistake. What you actually end up getting is y minus 0.25 squared is equal to 1. I hope you understand this bit. I didn't really explain it that well, but if you don't, you can just let me know later, you know? You're gonna isolate for b squared here. I'm not gonna do that step by step. I'm kind of, fingers crossed you know how to do that. So b squared is gonna equal 28.5 when you go through all of that. If you got something different, I'm right, you're wrong, so go back. So that means that your equation now has become y minus 0.25. It is so fucking slow typing or drawing on this. 120, 28.5 is equal to 1. And that gets you that does not get you achieved. You have to... That's good. That means that you've done the first step that you have to do. That's what I'm trying to say. Now if I grab that eraser, try and make it bigger. Can I make it bigger? I guess not. I need to make room. Sorry. Surely this makes it... Why can't I make it? I suck at using this thing if you haven't guessed by now. But, if I rub all of that out, I'm just gonna pause and get back one side. Okay, we're back, and magically, it's all gone. Cool, so now you have your equation. What you have to do now is look at the conditions that you have to meet. And you know those conditions are that the cover has to be... I'm gonna write them out here. Cover equals 5 meters, which we know it does, because it tells us. Changing rooms, C.R, have to be at least 2.5 meters. And the cover must be more than 8 meters high. Cover equals 8. Minimum. Really, what you have to check are these two. And spoiler alert, it's not going to meet those conditions. So if you go for the cover first, how can we find the cover height, which is this? What conditions do we need for that? Well, we know that x is going to equal 0, and we're trying to find y, right? I'll do this green. We know that x is equal to 0, we're trying to find y, which we can do through that equation. So basically what you're going to have is y minus 0.25 is equal to 28.5, and take the square root of that, and after that you can just rearrange to find y is equal to that plus that, and that's going to give you the answer 5.59, which is tragic because that's not 8 meters minimum. So that's one thing that you have to change. And the second thing that you've got to change is the changing rooms. The changing rooms, you know, because the width of this is the same as the original, the swimming pool, the changing room and everything, that's going to be the same as well. So on your sheet you should be able to see it. I'm not going to mark it on there because it's fucking annoying, but that's a shit color. Let's go for pink. You should be able to see that when x is equal to 10, that's when you find the y for the changing room height. And that will give you 100 over 120 plus y minus 0.25 squared over 28.5 is equal to 1. And you're gonna do all your lovely math skills from year 12 to figure out that y is equal to 2.43. If you got something different, then you're wrong. I'm right, so go back. What that shows is that the cover does not meet the height either. And this is when we've got to start adapting it, and this is where you start getting either merit or excellence. So I will be back after I've rubbed all this shit out. Okay, so the question actually ends up being, how are we gonna adapt this? Well, the answer is simple. We're gonna remove that wall right there. That's literally all we have to do. So what you end up getting is, change the color again, x squared over 120. Now this stays the same because we're not changing the width by removing the wall. All we're doing is making the ellipse more sort of, instead of being like that, it's gonna be like that, and that leads to it having a higher peak. Now in the question what tells us is that the cover must not be more than 8 meters high. So actually, this does meet that requirement. But we are going to change that. We're going to make it to the maximum. We're taking it to 8 meters. The trippy part here is that you're going to get y squared here, right? Because we've removed the wall. The biggest mistake that you're going to make is you're going to take b squared and assume that it's the same. For that, you have to understand what b squared actually is, or what b is. B is equal to the vertical displacement. In other words, when x is equal to 0, this is what b is. So what we're doing is we're getting rid of the wall and we're making this height equal to 8, right? That means that this is 8, which is equal to b. And that ends up meaning that your b squared, if I just roll that shit out, b squared is going to be 64 now. That's like in theory wise, that's the hardest part to understand about this. Once you understand that, you're all good. Now, what you've done is you've actually adapted it. Good job. This is all you have to do. This is your new equation. You've gotten the merit or the excellence depending on wherever you were with design A. Hopefully excellence, because apparently this is the easiest of the year. So you don't want to tank this. What you're going to have to do after this is, that's not enough. You're going to have to show that this actually meets the criteria. And how we're going to do that is the changing room height, because that's the only thing that you had to change. I was yapping when I said that this didn't meet. It does meet, but we changed it anyways. For this. I'm sorry. So you know that x is equal to 10. Now you're trying to find what y is equal to for the changing room height. You know then by 10 squared is equal to 120 plus blah 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 blah. We're gonna isolate that for y. And let me just crunch that out real quick. Y is equal to 3.27 meters, or however many places you want to take it to. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you've met the requirement that the changing room must be at least 2.5 meters high. Hooray. And what that means is that you've actually met the requirement for everything, because you've made sure that this isn't more than 8. You've made sure that your changing room is good. You made sure that everything's 10 meters wide and everything like that. Maximum width, we didn't do anything to the width at all. Like I said, this doesn't change the width. The only thing that would change the width was I actually don't know what would change the width. I don't know. I guess X, if you change the origin for X. And you know that the cover on the right side is at least 5 meters high. You will, in the test, actually show that it is, but logically, you know, if you're making it higher, it will be. And that's it. That's literally it. Good job. You got the E. Bye bye.